And I've sold $2 billion of real estate over the last 2 decades. And what I've learned working with super successful people is that it's not about the money. The money is the layer on top of all the emotional decisions that are getting made. And so it doesn't matter whether you're in New York or in the suburbs or in Kentucky or in Iowa, the process is emotional.
But this is my house, Mommy. So when I asked Mr. Kringle for it, it is, I know it is.
Welcome to The Pursuit of Home, coming to you from New York City. This is real people buying real estate and their unique journey to get there. We share the tips, tricks, and frameworks to help you navigate the bumps in the road that you won't see on reality TV or social media, and which no one has talked about until now. These are the emotional, psychological, ethical, and even spiritual challenges you're more than likely to encounter yourself. Learn from experts who've been there and hang out with me, Scott Harris, your host, who's helped thousands of people buy homes in Manhattan over the last 2 decades.
Welcome to The Pursuit of Home, where we explore what it really means to find and create a place to call home. Today's conversation is more than just an episode because we're releasing this before the publication of my book, The Pursuit of Home, A Real Estate Guide to Achieving the American Dream. In the book, the premise is that finding a home is a really, really big deal, and buyers are not prepared for just how big a deal it is, just how emotional and psychological, what a spiritual journey it is. I wrote the book to give you a roadmap to navigate this journey. It's available for pre-order anywhere you find books or ebooks. So maybe we want to push pause and go and order the book right now. Today, I wanted to share 10 lessons that I've learned over the last 2 decades about you, home buyers, that's helped me help you find homes that you love. These are lessons that I go deep on in the book, but I wanted to share them with you and give you a taste of what the book has to offer. So here goes. Here are 10 lessons I've learned about home buyers, about you, over the last 20 years. Number 1, it is hard to get off the couch. What do I mean by that? I'll give you an example. A couple walks into my office, we sit down, and lo and behold, they have all this homework to do. We need to get these ducks in a row and so on, and they don't come back. They don't respond. I find out a year later they never bought anything. Maybe they're ready, but it takes a lot to get motivated because people get very caught up in their own stuff. They get caught up by life. That's what agents are for. But even still, sometimes we can't help you get off the couch. It's at the start. This book I wrote to motivate you, to get you excited, to get you inspired, but it is an ongoing partnership between you and your team. I argue in the book that relationship with an agent, where you get to know yourself and your communication style, and you find an agent who speaks your language, that is the most sacred relationship you have in your home search. And that's going to get you from that couch to the closing table. All right, number 2, couples are not often aligned at first, whether you're buying or selling. Why don't we talk about both? But the book is about home buying. When it's time to buy, often one person in the couple, and 70% of people are buying as a couple, one person is excited and motivated, and the other person hangs back a little bit. What is that about? Well, it's that they're not aligned. It's just that they're not on the same page yet. One person is more ready than the other, and that's okay. But you have to leave room in this conversation, this ongoing conversation, to get everyone aligned. Sometimes what that means is that one person needs more information, more data than the other. One person is more emotional, one person is data-driven. Which one are you? So once you get enough information in there, the other person can catch up. Sometimes it just takes a little longer for you to emotionally catch up. They frame it as I need more information, but actually they're just getting used to the water. The water is not warm enough for them when they jump in, right? That is really, really important. And I spend a lot of time telling stories in the book about how husband, wife, partners, significant others, however it is, that they're just not, one person is not ready. They might even sabotage a deal because they don't want to sell. They don't want to move. I just was talking about a couple where they overpriced an apartment because one of them wasn't ready to sell, and they fought really, really hard. We're not in a rush, Scott. We're not in a rush. Well, it was because one of them wasn't ready to sell. When they finally were ready to sell, they were more open to pricing their property to market. And on the buying side, it really reflects in lots and lots of different ways. Okay. Number 3, you need a coach a lot more than you need a real estate agent. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that all of the skills of a real estate agent, which I call the table stakes, what your good agent will show up with is information about the market and mortgage rates and how to execute on the transaction. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The transaction is just the little tiny layer at the very top of the transaction. In fact, what is most helpful, what is necessary, what is crucial here is that you have someone to support you, to cheer you on from the sidelines, to even, in the language that you hear a lot now, to hold space. What does that mean? To help you feel safe, help you feel heard and seen and understood so you can really open up and express your fears and concerns. Because guess what? Moving is one of the most stressful things you can put yourself through. After losing a loved one, after changing jobs, these are all super stressful. It doesn't have to be that stressful, but sometimes it is. But guess what? You need a coach. You need someone to say, you're doing a great job. This is normal. Agents sometimes don't say that, or maybe they just don't know because, and get this, 1 out of every 6 agents in the United States is in their first 2 years of real estate, which means what? It means they don't know what normal is. I remember I was doing a renovation of a property of my home, and I was so stressed out. We were getting towards the finish line of the renovation, and the architect said the perfect thing that calmed me down so much. He said, Scott, this is the part of the process when everyone freaks out. Now, what does that say? That means, hey, it's normal. It's okay to freak out. That is the message that you want to hear as a buyer, that it's okay to be upset, that it's okay to be stressful, that it's normal to get stressed out. And for that, you need someone who's been there before, someone who can support you and be calm. You know, when you're down, you see the guy on the sideline yelling and screaming on the TV. That's not the coach you want. You want the cheerleader on the sideline. You want that stoic, calm person who's like, I got this. I got you. I'm going to make sure that you're going to get there. Okay. Number 4, people are remarkably undiscerning with the person they choose to be their real estate agent. Let that sink in. People are remarkably undiscerning with the person that they choose as their real estate agent. Try this on for size. Over 70% of home buyers work with the first person that they interview. Okay, now sure, that person can be someone that comes recommended, but that's only for about 60% of the time, it's somebody that you know. It's actually about 54% of the time. But even that person that got recommended, does that mean just because they're recommended that they know you, that they can speak your language? That's a big leap. What if that person has been doing this for 30 years and they're kind of checked out? Maybe they don't know you. Maybe they don't understand your position. You're a unique person. You need special treatment. And so for the 46%, everybody else who doesn't have a recommendation, those people pick the first person they work with too. Maybe that person knows the transaction, but again, it is remarkably undiscerning not to take time to meet at least a couple of real estate agents. Someone that feels like, oh, I can be myself around this person. I understand this person. They know what they're doing. In the book, I give a lot of questions you can ask of a real estate agent to make sure that you're going to work with someone that understands you, that speaks your language, that you can feel comfortable around. And it's not just, do they know the transaction? It's a lot more. Don't be one of those people that spends more time planning a weekend vacation than hiring the person whose help is going to determine maybe the most important decision that you ever make. Now, of course, choosing your loved one, that's a huge deal. You look around and look around and look around, and you date and you break up and so on. But when you buy a house, it's a very, very serious commitment. And of course, 50% of people get divorced. So believe me, be discerning. That's important. Okay, next one. The first checklist that you make for your home, it is not going to be the last. It will never be the last. The first checklist is just the first draft of what I call your vision. We spend a lot of time talking about getting your checklist, getting your vision. What would you love in your home? Put all the money to the side for a minute. What does that home look like in your dreams, in your heart? Fill it out. But then guess what? Start attending, start going to open houses. And what are you going to find? Well, I have bad news for you. Some of these homes that are supposed to have checked all the boxes, you're going to walk in and go, oh, I don't feel anything when I'm here. What's going on? Why don't I love this house? It's on paper, it looks amazing, but you just don't feel it. Over time, you're going to slowly adjust your checklist. That vision is going to get clearer. And with the right partnership, you're going to find out what are the questions, what are ways to actually start to get the engine on, clarify your vision, get a clearer vision. Just know that that first checklist, you may think it's yours, but it may be a checklist of things that you think you want, but turns out they're not that important to you. And there's some other stuff that turns out to be more of a priority for you. So definitely know first checklist ain't the last, and you just keep developing it over time. The offers you make are going to clarify more than anything else in your home search. So we're talking about developing your checklist, right? Developing your vision, clarifying what's most important to you. Making offers on homes will do more to give you the answers that you're looking for than anything else. It's not always about talking. It's about listening. This is what I mean. And I talk about this in the book. Are you ready? Get ready. Get your checklist. Develop your checklist. You have a list of, say, 10 things that are really important, and that can change, and it's okay to change, and it should change. When you get to a property that checks maybe 6 of those boxes, make an offer. Make an offer on the property. Now, of course, in your market, sometimes offers might be binding, so you want to check with your agent to make sure you do this in a way that's not committing you to anything. And I talk a little bit more about that in the book. But when you make that offer and the seller responds to you, one of two things can happen. One, they respond to you and you're like, you get nervous. You're like, they gave you a counter offer and you're like, oh my God, but I really want this home. That is a very common thing that could happen, right? The other side is that you feel nothing. You feel nothing. How crazy would that be? You think this checks 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 of the checks on all the boxes, and then you come back and it's like nothing. You feel nothing. Well, there's learning in turning this from an intellectual exercise into a neck down exercise. Nothing's going to give you more feedback than the emotions, than reaction. Are you feeling butterflies? Is this like you're falling in love, or do you feel nothing? And that reaction is going to tell you a lot about what's really important to you. Okay. Next. And I think we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is number 7. Here we go. Your issues follow you into the house hunt. Your issues follow you into the house hunt. And what do I mean? I mean, do you have money issues? Do you have trust issues? Are you afraid? Is it a scary thing to go into the unknown? Of course it is. And whatever your lead issues are, your emotional baggage, whatever those are, the real estate transaction is not some independent thing from the rest of your life. This is an integrated part into everything and who you are. So when you go in to bid on a home and they accept your offer, that's where the fun really begins. All of a sudden, you are nervous. Oh my God, I'm not going to have enough money. And you run away screaming. You think, I can't afford this. Even though the numbers on the page say you can afford this, your agent says you can afford this. You got pre-approved and your mortgage lender says you can afford this. Your parents, your friends, anyone you've trusted, brought into that trusted circle says you could afford this. And yet some part of you is still having a complete breakdown that you can't afford this. That means you might have some money issues, and you need to know that those issues follow you into the house hunt. What about trust? What about trust? If you start in this relationship with your agent, you think, well, I just want to sell me something. Maybe that's not the right agent for you. Or maybe it's that you have some deep-seated trust issues and you got to talk about it. You got to talk about it. You got to find someone that you feel open to say, you know what? I'm really nervous about this and it makes me not trust people. I had a client who was a police detective. He was retired. Everybody was out to get him. Everyone. And it was really hard to get him to the closing table. Thankfully, we had a good team on both sides of the deal and we got it done. But trust issues are huge. Trust issues are sometimes the biggest ones. And you just don't, if you know yourself well enough, you say, okay, I'm being triggered by this situation because it's stressful. But not everybody is that in tune with themselves. So just be aware, your issues follow you into the house hunt. Okay. And if you zoom out just a tiny bit, it is a scary process. I'm not trying to convince you that it's not going to be scary at times. It's a big deal. People talk about this is the biggest investment you're going to make in your life. And that may be true. So you have to be patient. Give yourself a little bit of grace. Make sure you have the right people around you that are supporting you, the right broker, the right friends, people that are not jealous of your situation, but who are supportive, who want to celebrate with you and also listen. This isn't, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. This is, oh, you know what? I've been nervous too. And as an agent who's bought and sold, I have my own issues. I've had total freakouts before. In fact, we went to bid on a home when I was about to be married. And all of a sudden, the day we were supposed to sign the contract of sale, guess what happened? We got outbid. I knew in my gut, oh my God, I don't want to lose this place. And I freaked out, but we signed contracts and everything worked out. But again, having the right team around you when your issues are going to follow you, you have to make sure that you build that team. Okay, next. To be a realist in real estate, you need to believe in miracles. To be a realist in real estate, you need to believe in miracles. I'm paraphrasing from a famous prime minister years ago who talked about having to believe in miracles in order to be a realist, in this case, in Israel. You are building a vision of something you want to create, this home that doesn't exist yet. It's an idea of what you want to do with your life and your family and your partner. And maybe you're going to move to a new town. Maybe you're upgrading after a promotion and you finally have saved enough money to buy a home. Maybe it's your first home. Maybe this is the first step on a ladder to a beautiful life that you're trying to create. Well, guess what? Guess what? To be a realist, you have to believe in miracles. You're going to look in the market. Oh my God, rates are so high. Oh my God, there's no inventory. On and on. So many reasons not for it not to work out. Oh, the agents don't care. Oh, all they want to do is sell me. Blah, 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 blah. Noise, noise, noise. You have to believe in miracles. I interviewed so many agents for this book. And what I discovered is that all of them have miracle stories that they sat down with their buyer after months. We can't find anything. Oh, all the excuses, all the reasons why they couldn't find anything. And they said, we're going to make this happen for you. I believe in you. I care about you. We're going to find that home. And then magically, the next day, the next week, boom, it happened. Too many times, miracles have happened in real estate journeys. You have to believe in miracles to do this transaction. Because guess what? It's not just a transaction. It is a transition. It's a transition to get you through this emotional journey. You have to go through something that is going to change you on the inside. Okay, we're almost there. Number 9, people create their own drama until the very end of the transaction because there are often lessons to be learned. Now, I tell a bunch of stories in the book about people who found the home, signed the contract, and then things almost fell apart or actually fell apart. Now, a very small percentage, something like 5 to 10% of purchases don't go through because of the mortgage not getting funded, things like that. But people, listen up. If you're going to buy a home and there's a lesson to be learned, there's something that you need to prove a relationship is strong enough to endure this crazy process is maybe something, you're putting yourself through a cauldron, this transformational moment. And there might be something that you still have to resolve to get to the other side. What it's going to be, I can't tell you, but in the book, I talk about these folks who tried to buy an apartment and then some crazy things happened and it didn't work out. And finally they found a new home and they realized they had put themselves in this other situation a crazy situation that they could have avoided, but they needed to prove it to themselves that they loved the city because they had moved from the suburbs, and they needed to prove to themselves that this was the place for them, that they had changed and grown, and that it was like this extra layer of proof that they needed to know for certain. And so I don't know what that might be for you, but even after you search for the home, you've motivated, you got off the couch, you started searching, you found a home, you made a bid, you got a contract signed, you got the mortgage. Even then, things can get a little bit crazy. Now, none of this is to discourage you. It's just to say, guess what? You're a human being. And as I said before, this is normal. It's normal. It's normal to be this stressed sometimes in the process of buying a home. Okay. Last but not least, buyers, before they start talking to you, are often not even remotely prepared for this journey. And that's not to say you can't be prepared. You absolutely can be prepared. I want you to be prepared. That's why I wrote The Pursuit of Home, why I wrote this book for you. The book that's right behind me if you're watching this on video. I wrote this book because I want you to be prepared for this super important, powerful, transformational journey to find a home that you will love. People, the American dream has gotten a lot of flack, as if your dreams are possible. And I'm here to tell you, and any good real estate agent is here to tell you, that your dreams are possible. Not only that, but your home is the foundation. It's the launch pad for the life you're trying to create. You heard me right. Your home is the foundation. It's the launch pad for the life you're wanting to create. So why not take a little extra time before you dive in to be prepared? Because guess what? You can have fun finding a home. You can partner with incredible people that are going to support you and cheerleader you. They're going to make sure that you are guided through the whole process. But don't start and just hold your hand out in the dark and say, please show me the way. Why not learn a little bit? Why not be prepared for what's next? I promise you, the more prepared you are, the better the outcome is going to be, the easier it is. People are always looking for shortcuts. And there are a million books about the transaction, the investment and the fix and the flip and all of the dollars and cents. And I've sold $2 billion of real estate, $2 billion of real estate over the last 2 decades. And what I've learned working in New York, which is the greatest city ever, super successful people, it's not about the money. The money is, it's the layer on top of all the emotional decisions that are getting made. And so it doesn't matter whether you're in New York or in the suburbs or in Kentucky or in Iowa or in California or Hawaii or Alaska or wherever. The process is emotional. This is an emotional journey you're going to go through, and you want to be prepared for it. On that note, I can't wait for you to read the book. Please check it out. So grateful to have you here.
That's it for this episode of The Pursuit of Home. I hope today's conversation gave you insight, clarity, and maybe even a new way to think about your own home search. If you enjoyed the episode, please take a moment to follow, rate, and review the show. It really helps us reach more people on their own journey to home ownership. The Pursuit of Home is proudly produced by Fame, the B2B podcast production agency. Find The Pursuit of Home on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else you listen to podcasts. And if you want to connect, you can find me anytime on social media or at Magnetic. Until next time, happy home hunting.